Merchant of Venice. Act 5, Scene 1. Belmont, Avenue 2, Portia's house. Lorenzo. The moon is shining brightly tonight. It was on such a night like this that the wind blew so gently over the trees that they made no sound. On such a night like this, Troilus climbed on the walls of Troy and sent forth sights of love towards the tents of the Greeks. Where is beloved Cressida lay. Jessica. It was on such a night like this that this bee walked lightly over the dew waiting for her lover. This bee saw the shadow of lion before actually seeing the lion and ran away in terror. Lorenzo. It was on just a night. Queen Dido stood on the wild seashore with a willow in her hand as a sign of sorrow, and sent for signals to her lover Aeneas to come back to Carthage. Jessica. It was such a night. The magic worker, Maria, gathered the magical herbs which gave renewed youth to Essen, her father-in-law. Lorenzo. It was on such a night that Jessica ran away from the rich and eloped with her spendthrift lover from Venice to Belmont. Jessica. It was on such a night that young Lorenzo swore love to Jessica with many vows of love. He won her heart with promises of love, but none of them were true. Lorenzo. It was on such a night that lovely Jessica, like a bad tempered woman, spoke ill of her lover, but he forgave her. Jessica. I could outdo you in recounting what took place on memorable nights if no one were to interrupt us. But listen, I hear the footsteps of a man. Enter Stefano. Lorenzo, who comes here so fast in the silence of the night? Stefano, a friend. Lorenzo, a friend? Which friend? What is your name? Please, my friend Stefano. Stefano is my name. I have some news for you. My mistress will reach here in Belmont before daybreak. She is now wondering about the holy crosses in the church, where she kneels and prays for happiness in her married life. Lorenzo, who is coming with her? Stefano, no one except a holy priest and her maid. Well, kindly tell me whether my master Vesenlo has come back yet. Lorenzo, he has no return, nor have we heard anything from him. Well, let us go in, please, Jessica, and prepare for a formal welcome for the mistress of the house. Lancelot, hello, hello, Lorenzo, who is calling? Lancelot, hello, did anybody see Master Lorenzo? Hello, Master Lorenzo. Lorenzo, stop shouting, I am here. Lancelot, hello, where are you? Lorenzo, here. Lancelot, tell him that a messenger with a bugle has arrived from my master with good news. My master will be here before morning. Lorenzo, dear Jessica, let us go and wait for their arrival. However, it does not matter. Why should we go in? My friend Stefano, request you to tell everyone in the house that your mistress will arrive soon. Then come back and play some music in the open air. How pleasantly the moonlight falls on the slope. Let us sit, Jessica. Let music gently enter our ears. The silence of the night provides a good background for a soothing music. Look, Jessica, how the skies above us resemble a lovely floor decorated with plates of bright gold. Even the smallest planet that you see is moving and is producing music as sweet as an angel's song as it travels through the sky. The stars are singing as a choir to bright-eyed angels. A similar harmony is in an immortal human soul, but while the human body is in its perishable form, we can't hear the heavenly music. Come now and sign a hymn to awaken Diana, the goddess of the moon. Let your sweet music reach the ears of your mistress Portia and lure her home with it. Jessica, whenever I hear sweet music, I feel sad. Lorenzo, that is because your senses are so attentive to music that you are lost in it. You may note that wild and untamed herd or a breed of young untrained horses jump about madly and make a loud sound. for this is natural due to their wild blood. However, if they happen to hear the sound of bugle or if some notes of music fall on their ears, they all stand still and remain quiet listening to it. Their wild eyes become calm due to influence of the sweet music. Therefore, poet would narrate how the musician orchestrates tones and rivers move from place to place by the power of the music. For nothing in the world is so insensible, unyielding, or fierce that music does not change at least for some time. The man does not love music or who is not affected by its melody is only tit for tat, intrigue and run. His thoughts are as dark as night and his emotions are as dark as hell. Let no such man be trusted. Listen to the music. Enter Portia and Nerissa. Portia, we see the light burning in my own house. How far the light from a little candle shine at night, the shines I good did in this big wicked world. Nerissa, when the moon shines, who do not see the rays of the candle? Portia, that is because great things overshadow small ones. A deputy of the king looks as powerful as the king, but when the lung appears, the deputy glory vanishes as the waters of a small stream vanish into a great ocean. Listen, there is a music. Nerissa, it is a music from your house. Portia, nothing is good in itself unless it is affected by circumstances. It seems to be that the music appears to sound much better when it is heard by night. Nerissa, silence gives music its melodious quality, madam. Portia, the crow sings as sweetly as the lark. When neither to accompanied by other sounds, I think that the nightingale, if she sings by daylight, when every common bird makes a harsh noise, she would appear no better a singer than the rain. How many things look better by being done at the right time and are praised for perfection but silence. The moon is asleep by her lover, Endymion, and would not like to be woken up. Lorenzo, unless I am mistaken, that is, the voice is Portla. Portia, he knows me by my harsh voice, just as a blind man knows the cuckoo by its voice. Lorenzo, Madam, welcome home. Portia, we have been praying for the well being of our husbands. We hope that they had benefited from your prayers. Have they got back as yet? Lorenzo, no, madam, not as yet. But a messenger has come ahead of them to tell us that they are coming. Portia, go in, Nerissa. Give orders to the servants that they must not show that they know about our absence from you. This is applicable to you also, Lorenzo and Jessica outside. Lorenzo, your husband is around. I hear he's trumpeting. We don't give away secrets, madam. You need not be afraid. Portia, it seems that the night is getting over. It is now daylight. It is a little pale, just as the day when the sun is hidden. Enter Bassanio, Antonio, Graciano, and their attendants. Bassanio, we should have long days like those on the opposite sides of the world. If you move about in the sun absence, spreading your brightness. Portia, Portia, I wish that I give forth light but never become light, for an unfaithful wife makes her husband sorrowful. I hope that you, Bassanio, will never be unhappy for what I have done. But may God decide everything. You are welcome home, my lord. Bassanio, I thank you, madam. Please welcome my friend. He is Antonio, to whom I am much indebted. Portia, you should in all respects be ever grateful to him, since I heard that he had signed a contract full of risk on your behalf. Antonio, not so terrible a bond now since I am free from it. Portia, sir, you are welcome to our house. I must show our welcome by deeds and not by words. So I stop expressing this polite speech. Gratian, in the name of the moon above, I swear that I misjudged me. Indeed, I gave the ring to the church clerk. As far as I am concerned, I wish he were dead, since you take this matter to heart. Pursha, look, are you quarreling already? What is the matter? Gratian, about a circlet of gold and insignificant ring that she gave me. The words engraved on the ring were like the one that a knife maker had composed and engraved on his knife. Love me and leave me not. Nerissa, why do you speak about the commercial value of the ring and the words written on it? You vowed when I gave it to you and that you would wear it till you die and would be buried in your grave. If you, not for my sake, at least out of respect for the vow you made. You should have felt it your duty to keep it. You say you gave it to a judge's clerk. I swear that the clerk to whom you gave that ring will never grow a beard. Gratian, surely he will wear if he lives to be a man. Nerissa, yes, indeed, if a woman becomes a man. Gratian, now I swear by my hand that I gave the ring to a youth, or rather to a boy, a little boy, small size, no taller than yourself. Who was the judge clerk? He was a talkative boy who asked for it as fee for his services, and I did not have the heart to refuse him. Portia, I speak plainly to you, Gratiano. You are to blame for parting with your wife's first gift. It was put on your finger with a vow fastened to it with a rust. I gave my lover a ring and made him swear that it would never leave his finger. Here he stands on his behalf. I can swear that he would not part with it nor give it away for all the riches in the world. Now truly, Gratiano, you have given your wife a just cause for. Had this happened to me, I would have been really angry. Bassanio, now I think the best I can do is to cut off my left hand and swear that I lost the ring while defending it. Gratiano, my lord Bassanio gave away his ring to the lawyer who had insisted on having it, had deserved it too. Then the boy, his clerk, who had carefully written out the proceeding of the case, asked for my ring. The judge and his clerk would not accept anything else except the rings. Purusha, which of your rings did you give away, my lord? I hope not the one which I had given you. Bassanio, if I could tell a lie to hide my offense, I might swear it was not so. But as you see, my finger does not have the ring on it. It is gone. Portia, truly your heart is devoid of truth. Oh, I shall never be your wife till you show me that ring. Nerissa, nor shall I be your wife, Gratiano, till I see mine. Bassanio, dearest Portia, if you only knew the person to whom I gave the ring and on whose behalf I gave it, if you could understand why I had given it, if you knew how unwillingly I gave it when nothing else was acceptable to him, then you would be less angry with me. Portia, if you had understood the sentiments attached to the ring on half of the worth of your wife who had given it to you or your duty to keep it, you would never have given it away if you had cared to defend your point of view with firm determination, with which man would have been lacking in good manners as to insist on having a thing which you held almost sacred. But Nerissa teaches me what to believe. I will wager my very life that you gave the ring to some woman. Bassanio, upon my honor, upon my soul, no, a woman has it, but I gave it to a doctor of civil law who refused to accept 3,000 tickets and asked only for the ring. I refused to give him the ring and allowed him to go away displeased. In fact, he had saved the life of dear friend Antonio. What could I say to him, dear lady? I felt ashamed and with feeling of courtesy I was compelled to send the ring to him later. Thus my honor could not be tainted by such ingratitude. Forgive me, my good lady. I swear by the stars in the sky that if you had been present there, you would have asked me to give the ring to the doctor. Portia, let the doctor keep away from my house since he has the diamond which I loved, which you had vowed to keep for me. If he comes, then I will be generous as you have been and will not refuse him anything I have. Nerissa, nor shall I refuse anything to his clerk. Therefore, make sure you don't leave me unguarded. Antonio, I am the unhappy cause of these quarrels. Portia, sir, I don't get upset. You are welcome in spite of all these things. Bassanio, Portia, pardon me for the wrong which I was forced to inflict on you. Here, in the presence of all our friends, I take an oath by your beautiful eyes in which I see myself. Portia, hear what he says. He sees himself twice in both my eyes, one image of himself in each eye. So he swears by an appropriate oath by his double self. Is that an oath to be beloved? Bassanio, but hear me, my lady, and forgive me this fault of mine, and I swear by my soul that I shall never break on oath again. Antonio, once already I pledged my body for his well-being, but for the man who got your husband's ring I would have died. I dare pledge myself again, at the risk of forfeiting my soul, that Bassanio will never again deliberately break the promise made to you. Portia, then you will become his security. Give him this ring and ask him to take care on it better than he had done before. Antonio, here Bassanio, promise to keep this ring forever. Bassanio, by heaven, it is the same ring which I gave to the lawyer. Portia, yes, I got it from him. Forgive me, Bassanio. Nerissa, and forgive me, Gratiano. That same young boy who was the doctor clerk gave me this. Portia, you are all surprised. Here is a letter for you. Read it at your leisure. I got it from Valerio Impoda. There you will see that Portia was the doctor of law and Nerissa was her clerk. Lorenzo here will testify that I left the place as soon as you did and have returned just now. I have not have entered my house yet. Antonio, you are welcome here. I have greater news for you. Open this letter at once and you will note that three of your merchant ships with valuable cargo have unexpectedly reached the harbor. I will not let you know by what a strange coincidence I happened to get this letter. Antonio, I am speechless. Bassanio, were you actually the lawyer and I did not recognize you? Ratio, were you the clerk? Antonio, dear madam, you have not only given me a new life but also the means of living. In this letter, I read that my ships have safely reached the harbor. Portia, now about you, Lorenzo. My clerk has some very pleasant news for you. Nerissa, yes, and I will not charge him a fee for my services. Here, Lorenzo, I give to you and Jessica a special legal agreement from the it's a special testament. After he dies, you will inherit everything he owns. Lorenzo, ladies, you are dropping bread from the heavens to starving people. Portia, it's almost morning, but I am sure you are not fully satisfied about what happened. Let's go inside and we'll answer all your questions truthfully. Gratian, all right then. My first question for Nerissa is whether she rather wait till tomorrow night or go to bed now. since there are only 2 more hours till morning. When the day comes, I will wish it were nighttime, so I could sleep with the legal experts clerk. In any case, I won't worry about anything for the rest of my life more than keeping Nerissa's ring safe.